Hello, my little angel doves. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so happy to have you guys here today. Today we are going to be going over just like a generic Q&A. These are questions that I've received in my DMs and my emails from clients recently. And so I figure if some of you guys are wondering, all of you are wondering. So let's dive right into the first question. A question that I've been hearing a lot lately is, what is your educational background as a hormone coach? Okay, excellent question. So I will go right back to getting my bachelor's. I actually graduated with my bachelor's of science in biochemistry when I was 20 years old. I was very, very self-motivated. I got done with university really early. I have an extensive sales background in biotech sales. And then after some time went on, I was in this place in my life where I felt like I had it all. I had the boyfriend, I had the apartment, I had the job, and I still just felt like something was wrong. Something was off. I didn't feel on purpose at all. I did not feel good in my body. So I left the town that I was living in. I was living in Chicago at the time. I came back to where I'm from. I literally stopped everything. I started from ground zero. I worked in a juice bar. I was like, what am I doing with my life? I really turned to my health as well because I was not feeling good in my body at all. When I was working in this corporate job, I was very burnt out. I had severe acne. I was having really, really bad period pain, really extreme endometriosis. So I was like, let's just start over. I got my IUD removed, broke up with the boyfriend, moved back home, got this job at this juice bar, and started from square one. So at this point, I really thought that I wanted to go back to school for nursing. So I completed a few classes that I needed in order to go to nursing school. And then I got a huge redirection from God. I feel like I just got this massive clarity drop where it was just really clear that I was not supposed to go back to nursing school. So the reason I wanted to be a nurse was because I wanted to be in the OBGYN space. I wanted to do women's health, and I was looking at being a nurse practitioner at the time. But like I said, it was very clear it was like not supposed to be nursing. I wasn't going to be able to help women to the capacity that I wanted to as a nurse. So I really just invested in my education. I did some fertility trainings online, some women's health and hormone certifications online. I invested in getting my trauma-informed hypnotherapy certification because I really was starting to see how intricately connected our feminine body, our hormones are to any stored trauma, any experiences that we've had that have actually been stored within our emotional body. So long story short, this is my educational background. First of all, as being a woman who struggled with severe acne, severe endometriosis, severe PMS, all the things for so long, and took herself through them. First and foremost, but also on top of that, now you know my educational background and certifications. Okay, second question today is, where do you get your water filtration system, or do you use water filtration system? I absolutely do. I highly, highly recommend, if it is within your economic options right now, to purchase a water filter. I would start with looking up environmental working group websites. So EWG website, I think it's only for those who live in the United States. So sorry if you do not live in the United States, but look up EWG website because you can really see what is in your water system. So you can just type in your zip code if you're on well water, if you're on city water, whatever you're on, whatever you're connected to. And then you can really see what you're being exposed to in your water. And then when you're looking up water filtration systems, you want to make sure that you find one that is conducive to your specific location. So this is not something that is like trendy. You don't just want to do what everyone else is doing. You want to make sure that the water filtration system that you're investing your hard-earned money in is actually going to be filtering out specifically what you have in your area. Okay, so you should be able to figure this out on really any water filtration system website. However, I do recommend reaching out to them via email and asking for proof and studies of those specific elements that you're looking to be taken out of your water, and really just verifying that that system does that thing. But I highly recommend Greenfield Water. I will add the link to their website in the show notes of this video and podcast. That is who I went with for my water filtration system. I absolutely love them. USA made, incredible family business, and they have the best customer service. When I reached out to Zach with Greenfield Water Systems, I had so many questions about how their water filtration system worked, if they were actually able to remove the exact chemicals and compounds that I was looking to be removed from my own water supply in the town that I live in. And he had so many detailed reports. And so, like I said, I highly recommend them. I looked at Berkey for a really long time and was honestly very much not impressed by the lack of data that they have showing that their filtration systems actually do remove that which you're looking to remove from your water. So highly recommend Greenfield Water Systems if you live in the United States, especially. I'm not sure if they ship to Canada or Australia or wherever you live. Okay, next question. What are my non-negotiable supplements? This one was very easy for me. You guys know, if you've been following me for a while, that my top recommendation, my non-negotiable supplement that I take with me everywhere, if I'm traveling, if I'm doing anything, is my beef liver capsules. I genuinely notice a difference if I'm not taking them. They have honestly transformed my skin, my energy levels, my hair. I honestly feel like the hair is the biggest one. Recently, I've had so many people being like, oh my gosh, your hair is growing so fast. It's so thick. Like, what are you doing? What is happening? And it's literally because beef liver capsules bring so much additional nutrients that I lose to stress, that women lose to stress, back into your body so that you're not having the effects of depletion. So I will link within the show notes of this podcast and video which exact beef liver capsules I use, because sourcing is super, super important, as you can imagine. The second thing that is my non-negotiable is minerals. So I'll give you a couple different options of where you can source minerals that will be really beneficial, again, to support your stress response and really just to support your feminine body. The first thing is nettle tea. So I really do use a lot of loose leaf nettle tea, especially if I'm traveling, if I'm going to be out of the house, but I still want to be able to get my mineral intake for the day. Unfortunately, we really don't get that many minerals from our water, and minerals have been severely depleted from our food supply. So you really want to try and get as many minerals as you can from as many sources as you can. And one of the best ways is loose leaf tea, nettle specifically. So nettle tea, best friend. I talk about it all the time on my podcast, on my YouTube, so you have probably already heard about me talking about it. However, my second favorite source of minerals is the Biofulvic multi-mineral. It's like a drink. I will also link that one as well. Okay, our next question is easy steps for healing cysts and fibroids. So any of those masses within our body. There's a couple different steps. There's a couple different things that I recommend frequently to clients. The first is the enzyme serapeptase. So there's actually a brand called MitoLife that creates a supplement called Dissolve It All. And that one I definitely recommend to clients who are dealing with any cysts or fibroids, because there's been a lot of studies of it actually breaking down cysts and fibroids within the body. I would also say that one of the best things to really heal from cysts and fibroids, something that you can implement in your day-to-day, and again has honestly crazy results, is castor oil packs. So if you don't know what castor oil packs are, I highly suggest watching my previous video, listening to my previous podcast episode, because I do talk about how to use castor oil packs and what castor oil packs even are. So you can do them very easily at home. They are very user-friendly, very simple. It sounds scary. It's not scary. It's very easy. So watch the previous video, listen to the previous podcast episode. I will link that in the show notes below. I recommend doing castor oil packs probably 3 to 4 times a week if you are dealing with fibroids or cysts. And then you want to not use them when you're on your period. A lot of questions about why not to use castor oil packs on your period. So this is why. It's if you have a heavy blood flow, castor oil can increase your blood flow. I don't see a difference personally with myself. I also don't think this is a huge deal unless you are someone who has a very, very heavy period. So this is why I'm just recommending it to everyone. Just don't use castor oil packs when you're on your period. I received a lot of questions about having PMS symptoms mid-cycle. So the questions were along the same energy of, I'm having tender breasts in the middle of my cycle. I'm having mood swings in the middle of my cycle. I'm having abdominal pain in the middle of my cycle. And all of these things are not normal, but they are super common, which is why it's easy to think that it's normal, because we can talk to our girlfriends and we can be like, hey, this is what's happening. And they're like, that happens to me too. But that is not your hall pass. This is not the reality that we need to be settling for. The thing is, if you are having PMS symptoms of any kind in the middle of your cycle, it normally is probably because you were ovulating during that time. And to have pain during ovulation, again, common, not at all normal. It is a sign of high estrogen. So the first place that we would look at is stress within your life. Maybe you just had a more stressful of a month. There's certainly times where stress is unavoidable. If you've had a loss in the family, if you're going through something emotional, if you've gone through a breakup recently, anything like that, unavoidable stress, those things are perceived to the body as stress. So be gentle with yourself. However, if this is something that's chronic, this is something you want to look at. So when we think about high cortisol making us have high estrogen, which is giving us these symptoms of PMS both during ovulation and late luteal, so right before your period, an analogy that I really want you to consider, because I feel like a lot of women are like, okay, how do I fix this? What is a Band-Aid fix? How can I just get through this time, move on with my life? I really want you to consider the source. So what I challenge my clients with, what I really practice within my business, is if your bathtub is overflowing with water and there's water spilling everywhere, all over the floor, all over your bathroom, are you going to go to the bathtub and scoop water out with a little cup? or are you gonna turn the water off? You're gonna turn the water off, right? It's not gonna make any sense to just scoop water out as the bathtub is still filling. So in this example here, the water itself would be stress. Your body's capacity to hold stress would be the bathtub. So are you going to just use these like Amazon supplements and these trendy little things to like help you get through the stress short term of like scooping it out of the tub and using supplements like DIM, doing the like raw carrot salad, supplementing with chaste tree, raspberry leaf tea, all these things that are really amazing. But if you are just doing those things and you're not turning the source of the stress off, you're not gonna get very far, and it's also gonna be so expensive. It's just gonna like add on top of itself, and you're never really gonna get the result that you're desiring. So the solution is twofold. The solution, and the most important part, is turning the source of the stress off. So that's really where I come in. This is where I work with my clients a lot of the time, especially my one-to-one clients, is working on capacity, working on your capacity as a business owner, as a female entrepreneur. What can you take off your plate? What can you hire out? How can you be more supported? How can you streamline your processes a lot more so that you can work smarter rather than harder? Also considering boundaries. What are the boundaries like with the people in your life? When you get off the phone with your uncle, your aunt, your mom, your sister, your friend, do you feel rejuvenated and really full, or do you feel really exhausted? And if you feel exhausted, it's okay. I know that person's probably super incredible, but how can we maybe create a little bit of boundaries so that you feel better in your body? Where are you allowing your energy to be drained? Where are the energy leaks within your life? Another quick check-in is, where are you in congruence and where are you out of congruence? So what I mean by that is, where are you living in accordance with that which you say that you are and that which you say that you desire, and where are you living outside of alignment from that? For example, if you are one of my clients and you're like, I'm looking for love, I'm looking for my man, and I'm so ready to call him in, I can't wait to meet him, but you're still texting your ex, or you still have, a bunch of your stuff at your ex-boyfriend's house, or, you still have those photos of him around your apartment, you're really not living in congruence there. And that's long-term going to be a huge energy leak to your body, because you're having this conflicted energy within yourself at all times. So these are a few little check-in points to figure out where that like bathwater turn off energy is like coming from, right? Like you want to turn off the stress of the perpetuated high cortisol within your body, because this is where a lot of those high estrogen symptoms are coming from. This is where oftentimes your hormonal imbalance is coming from. On top of that, it is definitely really helpful to use supplementation, to use herbs, to use teas, to really support your body in detoxing it a lot faster. So removing estrogen from your body a lot faster. And some simple ways to do this today are incorporating more fiber into your diet. So raw carrot salad every day. That one's really one of my favorites, and that's something I recommend to my clients a lot. So it's very simple, literally just like shred a carrot in a little pile of shredded carrots, and then you're gonna add cilantro. I always add cilantro because cilantro is actually a heavy metal detox. So you're detoxing the estrogen, you're detoxing the heavy metals, and then a little bit of apple cider vinegar on top to rebalance your microbiome and your pH, and just a little salt and pepper for a taste. So very easy. Increasing fiber is one of the easiest ways to start detoxing your body naturally from estrogen. So raw carrot salad, berries, psyllium husk, those are three of my absolute favorite ones to integrate for myself as well as for my clients, especially during times of life where you are more stressed and you're aware of yourself being more stressed. Again, maybe there's an emotional situation that went on, maybe work has just been busier, and you want to take control of your body and your health and really know that you're setting yourself up for success long term. Okay, one of the other questions that I received recently on my Instagram chat was, what are my favorite herbs and how do I like to use them? So again, I'm going to refer you guys to the previous solo podcast, previous YouTube video, where I did share about what my favorite way to consume herbs is, which is my tea infusions, which I make almost every single day. But let's talk about my absolute favorite herbs and why I recommend them specifically. So I'm just going to go through the ones that I recommend most often to my clients. The first is nettle. We already talked about that. If you are having hair loss and if you are exposed to stress, which I mean, that's like most people, most women that I work with, nettle is really going to be the place to start. That's really something I want to have as your base all the time to be having every single day. On top of that, something that I recommend to my clients a lot is rose tea. Rose is really helpful if you are dealing with any sort of depression, any sort of sadness, any sort of grief. If you're emotionally processing through more of a traumatic, heavy event, rose medicine is going to be your ally for this. It's going to be your best friend. It's going to nurture you and slowly allow for your heart to open and for you to process through the emotions that you need to. It also really tastes lovely, and I feel like as girly pops, we all love rose everything. It's just in our DNA. My next recommendation is oat straw. Oat straw is really incredible if you have high cortisol, if you're exposed to a lot of stress. It has a lot of minerals that are depleted from stress within the oat straw. So that would be a really beautiful thing to add with your nettle during times of stress in your life. Okay, 2 more recommendations. My next one is lemon balm. Lemon balm is amazing if you are exposed to EMF. So if you are on your laptop all day, on blue light all day for your job, under fluorescent lighting all the time, if you're going in and out of the airport a lot, maybe you travel a lot for work, you're having a lot of EMF exposure, lemon balm is the best for that. And then my last recommendation, but definitely not my least recommended, is red raspberry leaf tea. So red raspberry leaf is really tonifying for the uterus. It is actually specifically the most helpful, I would say, during your periods. If you are having any cramps at all and you have red raspberry leaf tea, it will really help with the cramping. Okay, my next question today, how to implement new habits. I get this question a lot. I answer this question a lot. I feel like the problem that we're having here with implementing new habits is a lot of the times we're trying to implement new habits like we see guys do it. And it's simply not gonna work. Here's why. We as women need to be in devotion to something in order for it to really change us. So something that I recommend my clients to do is to look at the integration of new habits as really tending to your inner child. So specifically, if we're looking at making more home cooked meals, if we're looking at eating your meals throughout the day or making your body a priority. So like even something as simple as instead of, sitting at your desk, writing all those emails that are in your inbox, like getting back to all of them so much so that you're sitting there like wiggling because you have to like pee and you're not listening to your body. Is that putting your inner child first, or is that putting like your inner masculine, like toxic masculine first? Definitely option B. And we do this with a lot of things in our life where we actually ignore our instincts, we ignore our body, we ignore our hunger cues for the sake of that next email. So I want you to consider that when we are implementing new habits, you're doing this for your inner child. So a really strong motivating force for my clients is I have them print out a photo of younger them. So a picture of them when they were like maybe 5 or 6, just a photo of them by themselves when they were a little girl, and framing it and putting it on their desk, putting it in their kitchen, putting it wherever in their home they're trying to implement new habits. So for example, if they're working on their body image, if they're working on their skin, because our skin and acne is so related to the way we speak to ourselves, and they are really struggling with the way they speak to themselves. They're very negative. They feel very much not in love and not confident with their body. I would want that client to put her photo of her inner child, of her younger self, in her bathroom where she is looking in the mirror, getting ready for the day or getting ready for the evening. Because that will be a better motivating force to speak to herself kindly than will be just her being like, oh, I need to speak to myself more kindly. We don't really have that much devotion with that statement, right? We want to step into our why. So we want to think about, okay, why do I want to implement this change? Why do I want to implement this thing, this new behavior? And give yourself the motivating force. Give yourself something that's really gonna ground you and give you purpose. Sometimes when things aren't shifting in your life, it really is required that you shift your context and you shift your why and you really ground yourself into your purpose in order to shift things, because creating new habits is hard. It's the hardest part of all of this. And the last question for today, I received a lot of questions about nutrition, and something I just want to clear up is nutrition can be fun. Nutrition does not have to be an absolute pain in the butt. Like, no one's asking you to weigh your nuts. If you are going to a hormone coach and she is having you like literally weigh things or figure out how many grams of something specific you're eating every single day, or like weigh different things, like this is not nutrition. This is an eating disorder. And this is something that I feel like clients come to me with all the time as onboarding questions of like, okay, like my last question is, how do you handle nutrition? Because I feel like in the past I really struggled with over analyzing every little thing that I was eating every single day. And I cannot tell you how far I want to get you away from this, because this is really, really toxic behavior and toxic thinking. And to me, nutrition really has to do with, first of all, bio-individuality. The fact that there's certain people who can't really eat certain things because their body reacts. Maybe they have an intolerance of certain kind. There's so much going on right now, so much trending right now of like, you need to be eating like raw milk and raw cheese and raw dairy and bacon and like this really high fat primal diet. And I think that it's amazing for some people, but I also know that it does not work for everyone. And I have zero expectations of that. And I think we all need to really let go of this like tight beehole energy when it comes to nutrition. So if you're like, yes, amen, I totally agree with all of these things, but like, Rachel, you're a hormone coach, like what do you do? Here's what I do. I work based off of meridians. So for example, if a woman comes to me and she is struggling with her spleen meridian, which ultimately affects her digestion. So maybe she's having bloating, maybe she's having a really hard time digesting emotional experiences as well. We are going to look at healing the spleen meridian through food. So I am simply going to recommend that she incorporates more yellow and orange vegetables because those are very healing for the spleen meridian. Really simple, right? So let this be your green light to listen to your body, ground into what you already know to be true, with an absolute large emphasis on both balancing blood sugar and protein. Balancing blood sugar is truly essential to making sure that you are not being absolutely owned by your cortisol. You're not having these huge energy spikes and dips throughout the day. And also you are giving your body the tools it needs to balance the hormones in the first place. And there is so much protein that's required for phase 2 of liver detoxification pathways to actually be open. Okay, I think those are all the questions for today. So we'll do another Q&A soon. If you have any questions that you want to be added to the Q&A, send them to me on Instagram, send them to my email, and I would love to answer them and hear from you. I hope you loved today's video, and I'm sending you so much love. We'll see you next week.